My name's Georgie, and I am 24, and I like to, when I get to introduce myself, especially to people that might not know me or might not know like what I'm about, I like to try and introduce myself first of all as a human, and in that way just creating like that idea that we are all equal, and regardless of what I do or what you do, you know, essentially we're all the same. So first and foremost, I am human, and then as my occupation, I'm a nurse. So that's what I do. Probably like 80% of the time I'll be in hospital in scrubs, like sweating. And yeah, on the side of my nursing, which is what I love doing, I love using that as an opportunity to, basically I just want to be able to help people. And as like a little side hobby to that, I love my health and fitness. So I run an Instagram, which is all, it started off being just about yoga, and now it's more like a holistic lifestyle living platform. So to me, happiness it's changed from when I was younger, I guess. Like when I was younger, happiness would have been being popular or having, you know, the latest technology, or, you know, having the latest clothes or things like that. But I've done a lot of growing over the past sort of 4 or 5 years, and my definition of happiness has continued to grow with me, I guess. So at the moment, happiness to me is knowing what my true purpose is, and I think I'm lucky that I've been able to find that, and being able to live it truthfully and honestly and wholeheartedly and unapologetically, being able to just be yourself and be confident with that. I think having a purpose, or doing everything that you do in your day-to-day life with a purpose in mind, can definitely, I guess, contribute to your happiness. And so if you're doing things just mindlessly or not knowing sort of really why you're doing what you're doing, I guess you're sort of just bumbling through life, not really knowing what's going on, and how can you be happy and living your true purpose without that? That's a big one, I guess. And like it's sort of like a catch cry everywhere, especially on social media, sort of in our sort of century growing up, you know, being grateful for this or that, and, you know, make sure you stay grateful and all of that. But a lot of people tend to experience gratefulness or notice their gratefulness when they like when they get something or experience something that's like huge or really sort of life-changing. But I guess for me, practicing gratitude in your everyday life, even just the little things, is what contributes to my feelings of happiness. It contributes to my feeling of, you know, living in line with my purpose. And what I love doing is noticing just the little things that you're grateful for, whether it's something you do or something someone does for you, or something that you do, you know, to help someone else, or yeah, being able to be grateful and be able to give it to others, I guess, as well. I think people like to think that they're grateful, and as I said, you know, like, oh, you know, like I can get excited that, you know, you're giving me a present, or, you know, that I won this prize, or, you know, I'm getting free stuff or something, you know. But yeah, I think we sort of miss those little things in life, or like your everyday life. Even just, I guess in my job as a nurse, and seeing people unwell all the time, and people unable to do the day-to-day things that I get to do. Even just things like putting on your socks, or going outside to feel the sunshine on your skin, like appreciating those things, even though the things that we get to do every day in our lives. When you realise that there's so many people out there that can't do that, it sort of really brings you back down to earth. And that's one thing that I love about my job, and it really reminds me to stay grateful for everything.
Hard work and perseverance.
What about them?
Again, do you think they link into happiness? Is there a correlation between hard work and happiness and perseverance?
Definitely.
And do you think people tend to work hard at the moment in society, or do you think we're a bit crap at it? Like everything. We'll start with you. Like, is it important to you?
Yeah, for sure. I've said all along, like, and especially with my job, a lot of people think, I don't know, that people said, like, oh, you must be really smart, and I've always said, like, I've never naturally been, like, super good at anything that I've done. I was never naturally smart at school. I was never naturally, like, really good at sport. I just always worked really hard, and that's what's helped me get to where I am, and that makes me that always makes me really appreciative of where I've got to, but also, like, the process of getting there, that hard work, and it can really challenge you and make things more worthwhile when you finally get there. So hard work to me has always been really important. Again, like, I just sound like I hate society, but society as a whole, I feel like we all just want things given to us on a plate, and we all just want things like now. We want the easiest way, and we want it just to be able to be as simple as possible. And I find that a lot on social media, like, even to the extent of sometimes people asking questions, or, you know, asking for advice and asking questions is never a bad thing, but there's plenty of times where researching yourself and finding out things yourself, you know, that's part of the fun of it. But a lot of the time I think we all just want the easiest answers, and we want it, like, just straight away with minimal effort, which I find is a shame. And then perseverance, I mean, I guess that ties in well with hard work, in that if you want to be working hard, then you've got to have that element of perseverance with you, and if the perseverance is lacking, then I guess the hard work's probably not going to be there either. So I think they marry in really well together.
That's exactly what I was looking for.
That was a good truck.
Yeah, I know, like, right in the middle of it. Sentence breaker. This one's pretty obvious, but nonetheless, it's a good one. Relationships.
And how they contribute to happiness.
Again, yeah, to your happiness, and, well, I guess this one's too personal to do anything about society, but I guess.
Yeah, relationships is an interesting one in terms of just, like, general relationships. I think connection to humankind, like, that's one thing that drives us and has driven us forever, is connecting with other people, and being able to find different ways to connect, whether it's, you know, just through friendship, or, you know, like, there's your romantic connections and there's your family connections and all that. But having, you know, people to relate to in those connections is really what I think life is all about, and then being able to figure out how you can use those to help yourself and help others. In terms of how it relates to happiness, I guess one of the most important relationships that I've sort of discovered, and it's become more and more important, I guess, as I've gone on this wellness journey of mine, is that the relationship you have with yourself, and with your own mind and body, and, like, the entirety of you, is probably the most important. And when that's lacking, I think there's always going to be, like, you're just always going to be just out of reach of what your definition of happiness is, if that relationship with self is lacking, or is not fully operating as best it can. So my relationship with myself is probably one of the most important, and you know, that comes down to why I do what I do. Giving back to others is what fulfills me, and, you know, exercising is what fulfills me, and, you know, basically just dating myself. It's great.
Better than dating other people sometimes. That's a bit grim.
Hot. I was just thinking, hair is it's a hot thing. That's why I keep touching it.
Yeah, I was really worried. I was like, I do not want to cancel again, but if it's like pissing down, like, we might have to.
I know, I was thinking that. I was like, oh, because then I was like, I don't think, like, a cafe scene is going to really work.
No, like, once or twice before.
Yeah.
And for me, like, it was really boring, and it was just like, I had a few people like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What's this? I'm like, no, it's not. Come on, guys. Yeah.
I've listened to a few podcasts that have been done, like, in a cafe, and, like, you get that, you know, like cafe kind of noises in the background, but it's got really distracting, like the coffee machine, and you could hear people like ordering, and
it depends how loud it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like they're talking to a phone, then you're like this stuff. All right, growth. Integral to your happiness.
Yes.
And probably most importantly, or not most importantly, I think an interesting aspect. Do you think people stop growing as they get older? And guess like linking that back to your sort of values surrounding growth and your happiness.
Do people stop growing when they get older? I think, I mean, do some people ever fully grow? Like that's, yeah, I mean, like physically, sure we grow, and mentally, sure we develop, you know, as what the stock standard human could expect to. But growth can come in all different shapes and forms as well. And for me, I think being daring enough to take that first step and really commit to your growth, that's been really important for me. And you know, it can be uncomfortable, and it can be scary, and it can be weird, and sometimes it's easier just to stay inside your comfort zone and sort of just, you know, protect yourself from life and from things that are going to challenge you and push you. But really there's no growth when things come easy to you. And one of my favourite sayings, or one of the favourite things I love to keep in mind, like when I'm faced with challenges or anything that's sort of going wrong in my life, is that there is a lesson behind everything, and that whether you realise it straight away in the moment, or you might realise it a day or two later, or a week or a month or a year later, everything that you go through, whether it's good times, bad times, challenging times, sad times, there is a lesson, and there is some aspect in there that you can grow from. And yeah, I hope I never stop growing. I want to continue to explore myself and improve myself, so then I can continue to use what I know about myself and what I learn to be able to help others. I think it's massive. And yeah, I think it's making that step and being daring enough to recognise opportunities, or to recognise cues where it is time to grow or change, I guess, rather than just keeping on doing what you always do. And I read a passage in a book recently about sort of imagining your mind, and it was using a metaphor as in like a tiger kept in a cage, and you know, it bumps the sides of its cage, and you know, that's sort of it's confined to that. That's all it knows. And a lot of us do that with our mind in our comfort zone as well. And when we get to the edges of our comfort zone, we bump it, and we realise, like, you know, I'm locked in here. I don't really want to go any further. It's uncomfortable, or you know. But when you realise that you can step on the outside, not that a tiger can get out of its cage, but allowing yourself, or giving yourself permission to, or having someone else give you permission to step outside of that comfort zone and face those challenges is fantastic. I guess that's similar to what I was saying before about like relationships, and how in my eyes, the most important one is the one with myself. I think that ties in well with love, and that it sounds so cliche, but being able to love yourself and I guess facing everything that you do in your life with love, and you know, thinking about yourself and your body and your mind and everything sort of with, it doesn't have to like always be out of love. You know, if someone's being an arsehole to you, you don't have to just love them right back, because you know, you don't want to get walked all over. You know, so it doesn't always make sense. But I think having that as the underlying current, or thinking of it as like the umbrella to everything that you do, that there's always an element of love, and maybe tying in with that like caring and compassion. And yeah, I think it's really important. And I mean, there's the age-old saying that you have to fall in love with yourself first, and if that's missing, and you're always looking for someone else or something else to complete you or to make you happy, you know, when I get this, I will be happy, or when I meet this person, I'll be happy, and you know, when I fall in love, I'll be happy. It's, you know, if it's not happening with yourself first, then it's always going to be, as I said, just out of reach, I think. That's a huge one for me. Kindness, and as I just said, like caring and compassion, that's like what underpins my career. and really not just my career. I don't just go to work and be a nurse and be like caring and kind at work and then come home and be an asshole. Like, I like to think that I've got love and kindness and caring and compassion as an undercurrent to everything that I do. Which one was the word? Kindness?
Kindness.
Okay, I started talking about everything else. Kindness. Yeah, similar to loving yourself, I think practicing kindness to yourself is really important. And a real challenge for me is being able to practice kindness in times of challenge. And even at work, like, you know, kindness and caring and compassion is a lot of what we do. And we give out a lot of it at work, like as a nurse, to people who are ill and unwell and sick and in pain. You know, if you probably didn't like kindness, or that wasn't something that you were really into, then maybe nursing wouldn't be a job for you. But even outside of the hospital, you know, kindness, I keep saying, like, back towards yourself, I think that's really important. But one thing that I've found, like, and especially like throughout my career as I've gone along, is learning how to choose kindness when you're faced with challenges or something that you don't like. So there's been plenty of times, like at work, when we get abused and, you know, physically abused or verbally abused, and people are unhappy with what we do, and really we're just coming to work to do our best, and we're always trying. Like, I myself, I never don't give a full effort with everything that I do, but there's been plenty of times where people have just had enough, and that's their way of expressing their pain or, you know, their struggles is through rage or anger, and trying to respond to them with kindness in those situations can sometimes be really hard. I would love to sometimes shout back, or, you know, walk out of the room, or, you know, it's not nice to come to work and just be treated like that. But yeah, I think it really helps me grow, and it really helps you. You know, I leave work in a good mood regardless of whether I got yelled at or scratched or spit at, or, you know, like, if you can face them with kindness and sort of not act back, I think that really helps contribute to your own level of satisfaction and therefore happiness with what you're doing, and hopefully can help the person that's experiencing those troubles realise that kindness is the way as well, or, you know, that there's a different It's been really important for me to learn how to step back from, like, a situation and know that I don't have to react the way I've been brought up to react, or the way that I've learned how to react, or I don't have to, you know, act the way that I think is right. Being able to think about your life by zooming out more and not thinking about, like, everything in every single moment. Like, it's fantastic to live in the now, but being able to take a zoom out and maybe view your life from a bird's eye view, and being able to realise that, you know, sure, like, this has gone wrong today, but as a whole, like, that's not what defines me, that's not what should be affecting my happiness or, you know, my mind frame, or, you know, that's not what is defining my self-worth. Is, you know, just being able to zoom out and realise that, yeah, like, you're not your mind, or you're not your thoughts, or you're not, like, the issues, or you're not what someone says about you, or what someone does to you, or, you know, it's a really interesting practice, and I think there's a huge space for it, and even at work, in terms of healthcare professionals, I think mindfulness is definitely, there's definitely, like, a lot more room for it in the healthcare professional world, and even in schools. Like, I'd love to be able to see it in schools and growing up, and, you know, I mean, especially as, like, teenagers and, like, young girls and that, I think that's what hits close to me, like, as, I guess, a young girl. But practicing mindfulness at school, like, giving kids the tools to realise that there's more choices and there's more ways to go about things, and more ways to think about things, and just, like, a deeper level of thought patterns that you can access if given the right tools. Like, thinking in perspective, it reminds me of my, like, all-time favourite quote, which is, it's a quote that says, "There's beauty in everything, just not everybody sees it." And I think that ties in with perspective, and the fact that, you know, what I see as beautiful and what you see as beautiful can be two different things. And I might see something or interpret something and that's what makes me happy, but you might think like, well, like that's lame, or like why are you so excited about that? So yeah, I think perspective is a huge thing, and I think that's also what helps make us individual, is the way that we perceive things and the way that we interpret and react to things. It's completely different to everyone. And yeah, I guess not everyone has to have the same perspective, like that's what makes things so exciting, and that's what makes things, great or different, is that, if we all had the same perspective on everything, then life would be boring. And would we all just think that we're happy for all the same perspectives? It's huge, but also being open to different perspectives, I guess, is really important too. And not that you have to accept them, but just being able to realise that there are different perspectives, and that you don't have to agree with them, but you can appreciate that there's different ways of looking at things.
Alright, last one. Expectations.
I reckon that's a massive one in terms of happiness, expectations and happiness. Like on a personal level, I guess, we all have our own expectations of ourselves, or of, what we want to achieve, how we want to look, what we want to do, how much money we want to earn, things like that. And they can be expectations that we put on ourselves, or they can be expectations that people have put on us, or that we've sort of just inherited as we've grown up. And we all know that when you're not meeting your expectations, then life can be not as fun. And you feel like you're not succeeding, or you're not doing as well when you're not hitting those expectations. But realizing that it's not always about just reaching those expectations or reaching like the next goal, I guess, is really important. And sort of just being able to go with the flow more, that's something that's really important to me. And maybe I don't achieve what I wanted to achieve, or maybe I don't get to do what I want to do, but have I still enjoyed myself along the way? Hopefully. And that, finding that like level of happiness or joy or fulfillment, whether you're hitting expectations or not, is huge. And in terms of society, expectations in society, that's a huge thing in terms of like, well, I think so, and even I fall into, like, I get trapped by it online and on social media, is like expectations that get set for us, and perhaps maybe for young girls. I guess that's the experience that I can talk from, is that there's so many expectations on young girls to... Did you just yawn? Am I boring you?
No, go on.
There's
Sorry.
so many expectations put on young girls to look a certain way and to be a certain way and to act a certain way, and if you're not that, then you're not good enough. And how can anyone feel happy or satisfied or fulfilled when they're not hitting what society is telling them that they should be doing, and they're not reaching those expectations? I reckon, that plays a major role on happiness and on the well-being and the mental health of our youth. And I think social media just compounds that in terms of, seeing models online and comparing our lives to theirs and things like that. It sounds so trivial, and it happens all the time, and I know people always talk about it, but in terms of happiness, like, even myself, I'll be scrolling through social media and I see pictures of beautiful girls, with beautiful bodies, or beautiful, beautiful faces, or beautiful locations, or they look really successful and really happy, and instantly think that you're lesser because that's not you, and you don't look like that, or you're not achieving that. And it makes me really sad, but even I fall into the trap of doing it, and I guess I'm lucky that I can catch myself when I'm aware. And that's what I mean when you can zoom out and sort of observe yourself falling into that trap. But in terms of expectations in society, I think there's a lot placed on people, and I'm talking about youths, but people everywhere. Let's all just accept ourselves and be happy regardless.
That's it. Done.
Done.
Hopefully it works this time.
Fingers crossed. Apologies.